Every single year, the average American household spends nearly $2,500 on fuel alone. But here's the shocking truth almost nobody talks about. A huge portion of that money isn't actually being spent on driving. It's being wasted without drivers even realizing it. Nearly 1/3 of the fuel Americans buy disappears because of small habits, hidden mistakes, and everyday driving decisions that silently drain money from their pockets. Most people think rising gas prices are the problem, but the reality is far more frustrating. The biggest losses often come from things drivers do every single day without questioning them. And once you understand these hidden fuel-killing mistakes, you'll never look at your car the same way again. One of the biggest traps drivers fall into starts the moment they pull up to the gas station. Millions of people automatically choose premium fuel because they believe it's better for the engine. It sounds smarter, cleaner, and more powerful, so people will assume they're helping their vehicle. But in most cases, they're simply throwing away money. AAA reports that more than 16 million drivers in the United States waste over $2 billion every year by buying premium fuel their cars don't even need. The word premium sounds expensive for a reason. It's marketing. Higher octane fuel only benefits engines specifically designed for it, usually high-performance or turbocharged vehicles. If your owner's manual doesn't explicitly require premium fuel, using it gives you almost no real-world advantage. No extra power, no better mileage, and no magical engine protection. Consumer Reports tested this extensively and found that most ordinary vehicles gain absolutely nothing from higher octane gasoline. That extra 80 to 90 cents per gallon adds up fast, and over the course of a year, drivers lose hundreds of dollars for no reason at all. Another silent fuel killer hides right under the hood. A dirty air filter may not seem important, but ignoring it can slowly damage both fuel economy and engine performance. Years ago, clogged filters destroyed fuel efficiency because older carbureted engines couldn't compensate for reduced airflow. Modern vehicles are smarter thanks to electronic control systems that automatically adjust fuel delivery. On paper, this sounds like dirty filters no longer matter. But real-world driving tells a different story. When an air filter becomes heavily clogged, engines struggle to breathe properly. Starting becomes harder, acceleration feels weaker, and carbon deposits begin building inside the intake system. Over time, that buildup affects performance, efficiency, and long-term engine health. Drivers often ignore air filters because they're inexpensive and easy to forget, but replacing one at the right time can prevent much bigger repair bills later. Tire pressure is another area where drivers unknowingly waste massive amounts of money. Most people wait until the TPMS warning light appears before checking their tires, but by that point, fuel economy has already dropped significantly. The Department of Energy and EPA found that even a tiny 1 psi drop in all 4 tires reduces fuel efficiency by about 0.2%. That may sound small, but when pressure drops around 8 psi below recommended levels, the loss becomes extremely noticeable over time. The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration discovered that only 19% of vehicles on American roads have properly inflated tires. That means the overwhelming majority of drivers are literally burning fuel unnecessarily every single day. Tires naturally lose about 1 psi every month, which means regular checks are essential. Some drivers try overinflating tires to improve mileage, but that creates dangerous risks, including blowouts, uneven wear, and reduced traction. Saving a few dollars at the pump is never worth risking an accident or replacing an entire set of tires. Roof racks are another hidden fuel destroyer that most people completely overlook. Whether it's bike racks, cargo boxes, or ski attachments, these accessories create extra drag and additional weight at the same time. The Lawrence Berkeley National Laboratory found that empty roof racks alone waste more than 100 million gallons of fuel every year in the United States. At highway speeds, the impact becomes even worse. Aerodynamic drag increases dramatically as speed rises, and some cargo boxes can reduce fuel economy by as much as 25%. Many drivers leave roof racks attached all year long, even when they aren't using them. That means they're sacrificing fuel efficiency every single trip for absolutely no reason. Storing heavy cargo inside the trunk is always more efficient than carrying it on the roof. And if a roof rack is necessary, choosing an aerodynamic design can make a huge difference. Modern vehicles also come packed with fuel-saving technology that many drivers completely ignore. Cruise control and adaptive cruise control are perfect examples. Surveys show that huge numbers of drivers either rarely use these systems or never touch them at all. But inconsistent speed is one of the fastest ways to waste fuel. Tiny speed fluctuations, most drivers don't even notice, can dramatically increase fuel consumption. Constantly accelerating, slowing down, and speeding back up forces the engine to work harder every second. Studies show that aggressive speed changes can raise fuel use by nearly 20%. And on highways, hard acceleration combined with braking can push losses close to 30%. Cruise control eliminates those unnecessary speed changes by maintaining a smooth, consistent pace. Adaptive cruise control improves things even further by managing following distance and reducing sudden braking. Drivers who use these systems regularly often save between 5 and 7% on fuel, especially during heavy traffic conditions. Idling is another habit that quietly destroys fuel efficiency. Every year, Americans waste more than 6 billion gallons of fuel simply by letting engines run while vehicles sit still. Many people still believe cars need long warm-ups before driving, especially during winter. But unless you're driving an old, carbureted vehicle from decades ago, extended warm-ups are completely unnecessary. Modern engines warm up faster while driving gently than they ever could sitting in a driveway. Even in cold weather, most manufacturers recommend idling for no more than 30 seconds before driving normally. Long periods of idling don't just waste fuel, they also create carbon buildup, increase engine wear, and contribute to corrosion inside the exhaust system. EPA testing found that idling burns between 1/4 and 1/2 gallon of fuel per hour depending on engine size. Waiting at long traffic lights or sitting in parking lots with the engine running may feel harmless, but over time, it becomes incredibly expensive. Engine oil also plays a surprisingly important role in fuel economy. Millions of drivers use the wrong oil viscosity without realizing how much it affects efficiency. Thinner synthetic oils reduce internal engine friction and circulate faster during cold starts, helping engines operate more smoothly. Drivers switching to lower viscosity, full synthetic oils often see measurable improvements in fuel economy. Even a small gain around 2.4% becomes significant over thousands of miles. Full synthetic oils also provide better long-term protection and last longer than conventional oils. However, extremely thin oils aren't ideal for every climate or engine condition, especially during intense summer heat. That's why choosing the correct viscosity for the season and manufacturer recommendations matters far more than most drivers realize. One of the most shocking fuel-saving techniques involves drafting behind large trucks. The physics behind it are real and surprisingly powerful. Studies conducted by the Society of Automotive Engineers and even tests performed by Mythbusters showed that driving closely behind a semi-truck can reduce fuel consumption dramatically. The truck cuts through the air, reducing aerodynamic drag for the vehicle behind it. At extremely close distances, fuel savings can reach astonishing levels. But there's a reason this technique is considered incredibly dangerous and illegal. Following too closely leaves almost no reaction time at highway speeds. Even at safer distances, the risk of accidents remains extremely high. While tiny efficiency gains may still occur from staying further back, no amount of fuel savings is worth risking a catastrophic collision. Then there's the endless argument about air conditioning versus driving with windows down. Most people assume using the AC always wastes more fuel, but the truth changes depending on speed. Running the air conditioner absolutely increases engine load and fuel consumption. On hot days, fuel use can jump dramatically. However, open windows create aerodynamic drag, and that drag becomes a major problem at highway speeds. Around 40 to 45 mph, driving with windows down is usually more efficient than using AC, but once speeds climb closer to 60 mph, the balance starts shifting. At highway speeds, many smaller vehicles actually burn less fuel using air conditioning than driving with windows open. Larger SUVs and trucks may not reach that crossover point until higher speeds, but the principle remains the same. On highways, keeping windows closed and using recirculation mode on the AC system is often the smarter choice. Weight reduction is another area where drivers lose money without noticing it. Every extra 100 lbs inside a vehicle can reduce fuel economy by roughly 1%. Many people carry around unnecessary junk in their trunks for months or even years. Old sports equipment, tools, boxes, emergency supplies they never touch, and random clutter all add extra strain to the engine and suspension. Automakers aggressively cut vehicle weight because even small reductions improve efficiency. Some extreme drivers remove seats or other components trying to save fuel, but most people don't need drastic changes. Simply cleaning out unnecessary items can make a noticeable difference over time. Aggressive driving is one of the fastest ways to destroy fuel economy, yet countless drivers continue believing it saves significant time. Research from AOA Colorado found that the average driver only saves around 26 seconds per day by speeding aggressively. That's barely enough time to matter, yet the financial cost is enormous. Studies from MIT discovered aggressive driving can reduce fuel economy by 15 to 30% on highways, and even more during stop-and-go traffic. Rapid acceleration, hard braking, and constant lane switching waste incredible amounts of fuel. Smart drivers learn to read traffic ahead of them. Easing off the gas early, coasting toward red lights, and maintaining smooth momentum saves both fuel and wear on the vehicle. Constant lane hopping rarely gets drivers anywhere faster, but it dramatically increases accident risk. One of the most overlooked maintenance items in any vehicle is the gas cap. Nearly 20% of cars on American roads have faulty or loose fuel caps, and many drivers never notice until the check engine light appears. The Department of Transportation estimates that loose gas caps allow around 30 gallons of fuel per year to evaporate into the air. That's an astonishing amount of wasted money from a tiny component most people ignore completely. Since the gas cap is part of the EVAP emission system, even a small leak can trigger warning codes and affect engine performance. Cracked seals, worn rubber gaskets, or damaged caps should be replaced immediately because ignoring them can lead to rough idling, hesitation, and larger EVAP system problems. But perhaps the biggest fuel-saving secret of all involves avoiding fueling extremes. Many drivers wait until their tank is nearly empty before refilling because they hate stopping for gas. Others top off the tank repeatedly after the pump clicks off. Both habits can become incredibly expensive. Fuel pumps rely on gasoline inside the tank to stay cool. Running the tank extremely low forces the pump to operate hotter, increasing wear and eventually causing failure. Replacing a fuel pump in the United States can easily cost $1,500 to $100, including labor. On the opposite side, overfilling the tank creates an entirely different set of problems. Fuel can spill onto paint, damage the EVAP system, and even trigger expensive repair codes. Some vapor recovery systems inside pumps can also pull fuel vapor or liquid back into the station equipment while still charging drivers for it. Flooding the EVAP system often leads to repairs costing between $1,000 and $2,500. Most drivers believe fuel efficiency is controlled mainly by gas prices or the type of vehicle they own, but the reality is far more personal. Small habits repeated every single day quietly decide whether money stays in your pocket or disappears at the pump. Tiny choices like tire pressure, unnecessary weight, idle time, acceleration habits, and fuel selection add up into thousands of wasted dollars over the lifetime of a vehicle. The scariest part is how invisible these losses feel. Drivers rarely notice the money vanishing because it happens little by little, gallon after gallon, mile after mile. The difference between an efficient driver and a wasteful one often comes down to awareness. People who understand how their vehicle behaves make smarter decisions automatically. They avoid unnecessary acceleration, maintain their cars properly, and stop falling for expensive myths pushed by marketing or bad habits. Over time, these small adjustments create enormous savings without forcing drivers to sacrifice comfort or convenience. Fuel prices may continue rising, but that doesn't mean drivers are powerless. The truth is that some of the biggest savings come from the simplest changes imaginable. A cleaner air filter, properly inflated tires, smarter driving habits, lighter loads, and avoiding unnecessary idling can quietly save hundreds or even thousands of dollars over the years. Most people will never pay attention to these details, which is exactly why so much money continues disappearing every day. And once you finally realize how many hidden mistakes drain fuel from your vehicle, you start seeing driving completely differently. Every stoplight, every unnecessary acceleration, every ignored maintenance item suddenly becomes a choice between saving money or throwing it away. The drivers who understand these secrets aren't necessarily driving less, they're simply driving smarter. And in a world where fuel costs keep climbing higher, that difference matters more than ever before.